Eric Holder, he has really struck a nerve. He makes this comment. Now his office says it was totally distorted. Your reaction, is Holder playing the race card?
Oh, absolutely. And again, this isn't unusual. This is, look, when the left runs out of arguments and can no longer defend a position, they will often throw out the race card. And this administration has done it. This president has done it. Eric Holder is no different. And it's always interesting, Jimmy, because all you've got to do is throw it out there, and you can take it back at any time. But the minute you throw it out there, the minute you say, "Oh, they're criticizing me because I'm African American or I'm whatever," that is voter intimidation. That is, you are trying to stifle honest debate. And my fear is this is going to happen again in this next election. We saw it in '08. Thankfully, this president now has a record. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a record in '08. So now we can criticize the fact that he's destroyed the economy, and hopefully we can do that without being accused of being racist.
Yeah. And you have Holder up there in Congress testifying, saying, hey, we got to stop playing these political gotcha games. This is a political sideshow. Who's doing what? I mean, that's what he's doing.
Again, that's what's so fascinating to me is that he really isn't responding to what brought him up there,
Absolutely.
Which is the fact that our government forced licensed arms dealers to sell 2,000 guns to Mexican drug cartels, and then we turned the other way. A border agent has been killed, and we are going to learn much worse, and we need to investigate this. But instead of cooperating in that investigation, again, Eric Holder turns it on all of us who are just trying to get answers. And that's bad enough. But when you're sort of finally boxed into a corner and you throw out that race card, that's just shameful.
Yeah, and I think you're right. When you say boxing into a corner, he's digging a deeper hole for himself every time he gets into this. And you're so right. We've heard this before. We heard it, about the memo. That was taken out of context. We heard about the February 4th letter, that it was just an inaccuracy. We're not lying. And now I know that Congressman Issa wants him to come back in January to testify. Holder's comment, I will consider it. You think that's him saying, I'm not coming?
I'm not holding my breath. I was very pleased to see Congressman Issa say, we want to bring you back. I sincerely hope he comes back. But Jimmy, look, we're not. This thing is. This is a huge deal, and answers need to be found. And I mean, look, I authored the letter to him, and I authored the letter to the president, asking Eric Holder to step down. 60 colleagues joined me, and that was even not fully knowing what he knew and when. To my mind. The very existence of this operation and the fact that it was so completely botched told me he's got to take accountability for that. Mm-hmm. And now when you look into the fact that he's not even cooperating in the investigation, it's very troubling.
Well, and you made an interesting comment. I was reading about it yesterday. You say that Holder's comment shows that the president had something to do with what he said.
Again, we've seen this behavior with this president, where he's gently and sometimes not so subtly thrown out the race card. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that his attorney general would say something like this, and the president wouldn't immediately say, refute it. That's not right. It's consistent with the way the media has protected this administration.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh, Ginny, every time many of us criticize I can say something like, this president, in many ways, had no business getting elected. He's in over his head. And when I say something like that, often I'm accused of racism. Mm-hmm. when his attorney general sort of sings along the same tunes, you got to wonder if this is some, orchestrated strategy of theirs, and because they've got a media that will protect them every single day.
And I think that is so important. I think that's why you see them doing what they're doing in these hearings, talking around the issues, not answering the questions. I don't know. I've got an investigator now, the inspector general's now. We can't say anything. I think you're so right. If President Bush or anybody on his staff had made a comment like this would be front page news, but nobody's talking about it.
Because we know it's so chilling. When you throw out the race card, it's so chilling. It stifles debate. That's the whole point of it, is to shut off debate. It is shameful. But it's also consistent with, Eric Holder is a lot like Barack Obama. It's never their fault.
Yep.
I am not accountable for everything. Anything. This economy is in the toilet. Oh, it's George Bush's fault. It's rich people's fault.
Yeah.
This president has not claimed responsibility for anything, and his attorney general is doing the same darn thing, especially with Fast and Furious.
Yeah, because it's Bush's fault because of wide receiver, and they leave all of the facts out. That the fact, at least under wide receiver, they were working and cooperating with the Mexican government. They weren't doing that under Fast and Furious.
Absolutely, they threw that out for a little bit, and then once the facts came to light, and wide receiver was very, very different. They dropped that, and then they turned it on us, who are trying to investigate what's going on. And then finally, I got to tell you, it's been a tough couple days in Washington. But then to read what Eric Holder said in that New York Times article, when he finally then again boxed into a corner, threw out the race card, it's just that sort of thing is shameful. And in the media, boy, they need to call them on it.
I got to ask you this, though, before I let you go. Possible hearing in January. And I know you guys are doing everything you can to get to the bottom of this. Eric Holder, do you think he's going to change his strategy? What are we going to have to do to get the answers that the American public, that the Terry family all want? All they're saying is, tell us. They talk about, politics. They're playing the game of politics. A very simple question needs to be answered, and nobody wants to answer it.
I think it's my anticipation that the heat on this issue will be turned up immensely in January. And if they continue to stonewall, you really get the impression that they're really trying to drag this out so that it doesn't impact the election. I genuinely hope that there's some sort of call for and demand for an independent investigation. This is a huge, huge offense that our government participated in. And it's amazing to me that outside of, folks on our side, there's not a huge hue and cry in the mainstream media to get answers, because you are exactly right. If this were George Bush and his attorney general, the media would have been screaming every single day the last 6 months.